Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Brief.
Catching fire from the public, Health Minister Yuli Edelstein is now trying to avoid public fury after attending a birthday party for his wife in violation of gathering size restrictions he himself announced. The move reminding Israelis of his predecessor's hypocrisy. Former Health Minister Yaakov Litzman having contracted COVID-19 by also breaking his own regulations. But Edelstein taking to social media, trying to explain his way out through a technicality, tweeting, "Sorry to disappoint the fake news writers, but the event was in the open, where events could be held at the time, according to regulations. A 20-person restriction on such events did not exist, so everything was done according to regulations." The public not buying it, though, still noting that Edelstein announced the new regulations just hours before, and that they were set to go into effect just hours after the party started. Israeli President Reuven Rivlin getting in on the criticisms, calling for the formation of a central state body to respond to coronavirus with a clear doctrine, echoing warnings by senior health official Professor Sigar Sadetsky, who just resigned over the lack of clear government direction or action. Meanwhile, new daily infection rates remain at over 1,000. The total active cases in Israel hitting over 15,200, 118 in serious condition, and the death toll rising to 346. Jerusalem Affairs Minister Rafi Peretz now also becoming the latest government official to enter quarantine after a member of his office contracted the virus. Yet the health ministry delayed recommendations for new targeted lockdowns after hours of debate overnight, and in spite of demands by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to come to a decision. Instead, health officials are trying to ease pressures on the healthcare system, reportedly planning to reduce COVID testing by tightening criteria for getting a test, and cutting follow-ups for those testing positive in favor of simply increasing quarantine from 2 weeks to 4. Finally, failing to meet deadline, the government is delaying the release of financial aid for workers and businesses hurt most by the ongoing closures, despite assurances by Finance Minister Israel Katz and Prime Minister Netanyahu that the money would be dispensed within 48 hours of Monday's new restrictions. Israeli singer Chemi Rudner, in response, launching a protest against paying taxes until proper support is issued. Rudner calling on all Israelis to do the same, saying, quote, "Maybe then, at the end of the day, something will change here." Trouble in paradise brewing between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and right-wing ultra-Orthodox Shas party head Aryeh Deri. Interior Minister Deri reportedly angrily hanging up on the premier over a Likud-sponsored proposal to establish a Knesset committee aimed at investigating alleged conflicts of interests among Supreme Court judges. Deri apparently yelling at Netanyahu, blasting him for nearly collapsing the government just 2 months into its term, adding that the nation has bigger fish to fry with nearly 1 million people unemployed. The proposal, which failed to gain momentum, could have potentially led to the end of the current coalition and subsequently new elections had it passed. Under the terms of the Netanyahu-Gantz unity government's formation, neither side is supposed to promote such controversial legislation without joint consent. But this Likud-led bill is harshly opposed by Benny Gantz's Blue and White Party. Major disaster narrowly averted. A transport helicopter carrying top IDF officials nearly plummeting to Earth, stopping at just 30 meters or 100 feet from the ground. According to the military, a Black Hawk helicopter ferrying IDF Chief of Staff Aviv Kochavi and other top officers from Jerusalem to an undisclosed base started to plummet when one of the chopper's motors experienced a technical malfunction. The IDF, though, says that the flight crew handled the issue safely, landing at the nearby Tel Aviv Air Base. But Hebrew media reports say that the incident nearly ended in disaster, alleging that the chopper started to fall only after the crew shut off the remaining working motor rather than the broken one. Either way, the IDF says that an investigation has begun. Meanwhile, a massive military drill scheduled for September has now been scrapped, citing insufficient funding. The IDF and the Finance Ministry reportedly battling it out over the coming defense budget. The military, effectively operating without a budget since January, is still in talks to increase funding to pay for its multi-year momentum plan to reinvent the army. Kochavi warning against a false sense of security amidst the current relative calm.
That's all for now, but for more news from Israel, remember to like ILTV on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.